Welcome to Culture Paint. On this episode, we're going to go through what's caught our eye over the last couple of weeks in the miniatures painting world. For our main topic, Andy and Matt are going to fill us in on everything that went down at Golden Demon US over in Adepticon. And then we'll close out the show, as usual, taking questions from the chat and having a look at what the hashtag Paint Cultists have been up to. Now, Culture Paint's aimed at a mature audience, and we might use explicit language and discuss adult themes. And let's talk about paint.
We staying on the music?
We're back. We can just chat while Henry disappears to plug in the internet.
All right, well, I'm taking over. I'm going to do what Henry does. Hello, everyone. We're back in the game. Henry's making his internet work, so you're running with me. I'm almost nervous with anticipation of this video topic, but it's going to be a fun one. Stilo, you're
Right.
back.
We're back. Are we back? Is everyone back? What's going on?
Yeah,
Did my best.
Oh, you clicked live. Brilliant. So that was all on camera. Fantastic. Well, good evening, everyone. Excellent.
I got it going, mate. I got it going.
The one night I just do this in my pajamas as well, right? Is the one night I actually have to get up and do it. I've gone full like newsreader. It's business up here, casual down there.
I can't stand up, mate. Don't worry about that. Right.
So yeah, fingers crossed. Any of that little lag we had just early on has all disappeared and will be good for the rest of the show. So we're back. It's been rubbish.
Ages,
I really enjoyed the 2 weekly show, and just having that like 1 week off, it's been bummed me out a bit. But we're back.
There's always good stuff to chat about every week at the moment. So.
I know,
especially the last week or so.
Just everything's going on, man. So well, let's get straight into it. Let's do our normal first segment. What's been out there over the last 3 weeks that's caught our eyes, because there's been plenty of it, obviously, with the Adepticon announcements for GW stuff, and then we've obviously had a load of other manufacturers producing things. So what we got?
So we've got the slides up. So first up,
oh, it's my pick. So obviously, I was incredibly excited about Horus Heresy returning. That's amazing. They announced that at Adepticon. And then we had all the cool like birds that are on those Imperial Knight kits. I was like, I'm definitely having some of them. They'll look great with the Cruel Boys. What else was there? There was some other good stuff, but without shadow of a doubt, the beer pigs for the Norse Blood Bowl team.
Man, I've never seen these.
Mate, like I play Blood Bowl sporadically, like as in loads for about 2 weeks every year. The Norse team looks amazing, and the beer pigs are, I mean, faultless. I think that's the word. Maybe.
Would you call them man beer pigs?
No.
Oh.
No, but that's a great drinking game. Which it is. But anyway, but yeah, they're just, I think we've reached it. I think this is it. It's all downhill now.
Just peak
all
miniatures production ever. That's it.
I don't know. The squats are coming back, mate. What a time to be alive.
It's exciting, I know, right? But everything overshadowed somewhat by two little piggies with the beer barrels on the back. Your beard's looking fantastic, mate. I've just seen you properly on the
my
thing.
beard?
Yeah,
Thank you.
You warming up for squats? You're thinking,
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. Good man. But yeah, lovely Blood Bowl team, cracking pigs, lovely stuff.
Are the Nordic team a historic team that they've redone, or is it brand new?
Yeah, Norse a bit, because with Blood Bowl, it's always been a lot more tongue in cheek than sort of like it's took all the sort of fun stuff and fantasy, and it's sort of this separate bubble almost. But no, Gary, do you remember Gary Morley, the sculptor?
Oh, yeah.
Did a lot of stuff in the 90s, loads and loads of stuff. He, from what I can remember reading The White Dwarf, I think he sculpted the Norse team for himself, possibly over like the armature of the normal human team.
Right.
And then I think it developed into that. Oh, everyone thinks these are amazing, Gary. Please, can we cast them up and stuff? And they got cast up. So they're not Norse like you've got, in the Warhammer old world. You've got the Chaos Wastes, and you've got a lot of the Warriors of Chaos tribes are kind of your Norse kind of thing, right? It's meant to be your Vikings, your barbarians, your Norse. This is a lot more like on the nose,
When you look at the helmet,
big tall Swedish lads with beards and
basically Asterix and Obelix.
Yeah, it's
they were Gauls before anyone in the chat said they were
Gaul. But yeah, and they've I think maybe a month ago, somebody accidentally was sent the wrong Forge World order, and they got a Blood Bowl Yeti, and everyone's like, "What the
I missed that.
is this?" And obviously, it was because these guys were coming.
I wonder, do you reckon they do that sort of stuff on purpose? Where
I
like,
wish.
Whoops,
I wish they
on purpose.
accidentally said this one medal out to one person to generate a bit of buzz.
I've not heard it happening for years.
It's a golden ticket, Willy Wonka style. It's brilliant.
Yeah, literally. I'm here for it.
But yeah, I mean, I'm over the moon at the Adepticon announcements. Like, just about every single one was out of the park, and then of course they dropped Leagues of Votan like last week or whatever. So we can talk about that another time. But it's been a passionate couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
So what's up next, Matt?
Next up is
It's sick. I picked two things because I had a pick, and then I saw this, and I was like, Matt, this has to go in. No bias here. There's loads of bias. I've never been so biased in my life. But yeah, so our models, and when you make like models and you sell them, you hope that people paint them, and sometimes they don't, but then sometimes they do. And this is everything I like about miniatures. So it's a wood elf with a wolf in a forest base, and it's everything. It's amazing.
It's fantastic. I'd seen the archer, but I hadn't seen this with the wolf. It's brilliant.
Obviously, we intended the wolf to go with the other model, and it sounds so basic, but stick the wolf with the archer. More critters, eh?
Absolutely.
And we did
sort of say, didn't we, that we sort of hoped you might see the wolf pop up in with other miniatures, be they ours or other larger scale fantasy ones.
It's such a good sculpt. Like, I know it's hard,
it is, right?
But it's so good to paint because there's no fur clumps. They've done an amazing job on the back there, and the drool coming out the mouth's really cool. It's really cool. I've not seen that before. Like, I've seen the usual like stringy drool. Yeah,
but I've never seen it with the intention of giving motion to the model. And that's really cool.
Yeah, just a win for the cult, and I love it. So thanks for painting that.
Great. And all the as usual, guys, all the accounts that we feature will be down in the description. If they're not already, they will be by tomorrow. So you can go and check them out.
So,
Brad.
on the double dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay. I was going to be worried
that this is in here.
I've said this to Rich. I've never fallen so hard, so quick for a sculpt. And Patrick's one of my favourite sculptors, and I bought some of his stuff, but I've never painted one. And this mini is so perfect for me. And actually, it coming out the week after GD, where I fancy painting something, not Games Workshop, is just brilliant. So it's built. It's on my desk. I'm building the base at the moment, and you'll see it at a show. I'll be painting it. I love it. Amazing sculpt, and it was sculpted for dragon head models. So if you like it, go get it.
Mega. One of the big sculptors as well, right? Let's be honest, of the last sort of 10 years.
I'll tell you why I like it, because it's traditional, and it's there's negatives to traditional, but I've got it in my hand. And it just feels really nice. Like, you can tell all the work and the effort's gone into it. And I don't know, it's really nice to do like a classic fantasy kind of mini. It's quite low key because she's just like, not a seriously like war kind of character. I don't know. Yeah, it's just lovely. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, really, really nice. There's a few people in the chat saying they've already ordered it and stuff, picked it up. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. Good times. Tons of people in the chat. Just had a look. Nice to see everyone there. Some familiar faces and some new names in there. So always good when we're getting more people nerding out about the painting.
200 consecutive viewer mark for the first time.
Lovely. Brilliant.
Cool.
There we go. Rich is going to give away something from his weapons shed. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Have to
dig
find for
something
it.
out.
Surely the Warhammer.
The Warhammer.
Maybe 300 viewers will get, or whatever concurrent viewers will do
Yeah.
it.
So I'd rather give away one of my golden demons.
Anyway, onto that later.
It's lovely. It's lovely.
What's up next, Matt?
So this was my pick.
Yes.
I thought it was awesome. Honestly, I thought it was a drawing to begin with until I saw it was it's like this. What's the company called? It's like Gold Solid Edgeworks or something. They're like 10-inch plastic models. They're all like pre-painted and like pre-colored plastic, but they've gone for like this super cool cell shading and
The
Is
trousers.
it 10 inches tall, that model?
something like that. Yeah, it's quite big.
So she's
Yeah.
That is, remarkable. That's one of the best of that style I've seen.
Yeah,
Mm.
but no,
those trousers are just wow.
Mm.
yeah, it's really really good. So yeah, plus
Only
new
thing I
Dragon.
can tell it's the minis. I think I can see like a fold in its background, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, on the black sheet. Because I've seen a few people do this now over the last couple of years. Ash McEwen's the one that jumps out to me. He's done a whole Gargant army for AOS in this style, which admittedly is only like 6, but it's still, it's all this style. I've often wondered with it, like, because I in the past I assumed they would straight copy a piece of artwork, right? Because that would inform you of where to put it all. But it's not always possible, right? Like, how on earth do you know where to put? Like, look at the trousers, right? The folds are obvious, right? Sculpted folds are folds, but like, you see the shadows. There is coming in from the left.
Yeah,
I don't understand how you. Do you know what I mean? How you figure, because it's not like you don't light it like a traditional.
We'd fix a view,
picture,
wouldn't you?
right?
And you would like,
But do you think maybe you'd do it in Photoshop a bit? Give yourself like almost like a practice sketch of it, almost in Photoshop, to give you an idea,
Maybe.
or.
Well, I guess it's kind of like when you'd paint a figure with like a fixed light source anyway, and say you like blocked in some colors, you're just doing that step.
Right.
But then obviously you could adjust if it's not working. But if you look at like the arm in isolation, if you're like, okay, the photo view is front on, do the bicep part, you'd paint that shadow, wouldn't you, that size, paint the highlight area, and you'd be done, and then just make sure it works, I guess. I've definitely taken photos as I went through, but I don't think it's something I'll ever do. I think it's amazing. I just don't think I'll ever do one in that style myself. But it's really cool when it's done well.
I would love to see like a whip of this, because I've only ever seen like I put the what was it, the Gundam in a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and that was similar style, but like I've never seen whips of it, so I would love to see how it looks. Is there like like when you do like sometimes you do non-metallics, there's a certain point where it just pops and you go, perfect. Do you reckon it's like that, or do you reckon it's very gradual, or do you reckon, like sometimes you don't know if you've nailed something until the very last moment?
I reckon
I'd be interested to see what it's like.
When those black lines go in on this style is probably when it really all comes together.
Yeah, on that knee especially, that black line on the top. That's what I keep looking at.
So Warden's saying in the chat that you put the lightest colour down first, and then the darkest, and then you work from there. Yeah.
Oh.
It's cool.
It'd be fun to try, wouldn't it? Be a fun little exercise. But yeah, that's wicked. Nice pick, Matt.
And next up is
me.
Oh, it's an old model.
Yeah.
Still great.
So awesome model. Really cool account. Got a really cool Mechanicum. I don't know if it's a dark Mechanicum, but it's like a Mechanicum Scutari mix of stuff, using House Cawdor models as like his main dudes. It's just really cool. And this model I just loved because it's painted really differently, and also really subtly there's shitloads of conversions. Every single one of those chaos spikes has been on the trim, has been carved off basically. So fair play for that. And I just think it looks awesome. It's very different. I love the two-tone with the big shield arms as one color and the main body another. I just saw it, I went, oh, that's fucking cool. Imagine playing a game and someone putting that on the other side of the table.
What a great photo as well.
I was
Like,
going to say,
what a
that's
great
what
presentation of your miniatures, you know.
it's the other, like, because the brass scorpion means nothing when you put some people next to it. You're like, whoa,
It's
because
huge.
then you instantly you're a bit more immersed in the world, and you imagine, well, that'd be scary, that thing walking behind these little dudes, and then he's got the scenery and he's done a great photo, and it's like a codex shot, isn't it? It's just that helps with the immersion, and that's why it looks so cool. So yeah, nice to see stuff presented that way, right?
Putting a bit of effort into, well, not a bit, putting in a lot of effort to, one, the model, and two, like you said, the photography skills, making it really stand out.
Those are crispy photos, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Would
Really
love to
nice.
just spend a bit of time on my photos and do a nice little photo shoot of some of my stuff.
Yeah.
The blue palette, mate.
Exactly, yeah. Not some shitty one of my work desk being really messy behind it on top of the blue palette.
It's got a bit of charm to it, though. But becomes recognisable, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
No one else sticks a bloody great blue. I tell you what makes me chuckle, not with yours, but when sometimes people take their snaps over like one of those green cutting mats or things like that, and then they clearly womp everything up with Photoshop or whatever.
Green, yeah.
And look, and you're like, you guys see what you
I haven't photoshopped it.
Your cutting mat is all of a sudden like, fluorescent and fuzzy and all this, that, and the other. Cool, yeah, you know.
True.
But it'd be definitely something that's on my list is to make a nice, not backdrop's not the right word, but this kind of thing, a little bit of scenery or something
It's like a little set
to present, to just present miniatures on. I think particularly if you're someone who paints with that as your end goal, so you're not painting for traditional like competitive display, and you're not painting to sit on the shelf as display. You know, you are painting armies to look cool, you know, or on in situ. I think it's nice to present
it in the army, right? Because we always
right,
like individual figures. People might be like, meh. You get some scenery in there. There's some different size figures, and then all of a sudden you're into that world, and you know it's just everything's better, right? Like one picture of that Skitari on a black background would be cool, but a big old scorpion and the rocks and nice shots, it just makes you feel all nice inside, doesn't it? Makes you
absolutely. Matt, might be one for you in the chat here. Anyone know if you can buy tickets for the October GD yet?
Well, we've been discussing this. We've been discussing this, Matthew. I think we should save some of my thoughts on this at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not.
I'll make a note of that
yet.
then. Hang on.
They haven't been announced.
Tickets.
Limited tickets.
Right. Are we done for picks?
We are.
Yeah, only pick one.
Right. Was there any memes?
There is a meme.
Oh, there is a meme.
What one is it? So many.
What is it?
I'm scared of which one it
ready.
is.
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
All right. This was just a bit of lazy teasing from me to Andy in one of the chats. I didn't realise. Yeah.
we could post the same meme and just swap it, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And that would be the summary.
It's just this, but with heresy on the top.
Yeah.
We should Photoshop Drake, but put like me on one and Henry on the other.
Hey, I have absolutely loved painting all this Eldar stuff. Got the last tutorial out this week, just behind me on the desk, just finishing up. Amazing range of models. I said it a bunch of times. Chuffed to balls for you, Andy, that you're going to do your Eldar Army project. Beautiful minis. I was almost there. Almost. They almost had me. And then they dropped the Space Storm. And it was like, everything's okay again. Everything's going to be great. You know, I can't wait.
I'm glad that I do not want anything to do with them. That is, yeah.
I mean, I think probably they'll deserve a bit of a discussion later down the line when we see a bit more of them. But I am really pleased that we're getting, not squats, but we're getting dwarves in. Like, you know, 40k has always been space fantasy, hasn't it? It's not trad like sci-fi, right? So I think it's cool that we get space elves, space dwarves, space people, space orcs, you know, all that, because it just helps reinforce that fantasy vibe a bit more, which is for me, purely for me, like that's what drew me into it. You know?
What are your initial thoughts on the one we've seen?
Crap. I mean,
Yeah,
And
I like it. I'm really intrigued. Really intrigued to see what the vehicles are like. I think you are, Rich, aren't you? Like, like we don't know any more about it. But yeah, I think it's rad. I think just like when they dropped Mechanicum, you know, as a different way to collect sort of the good guy human sort of things. Do you know what I mean? Like previously it was either Marines or Guard. That was all you could do. But then Mechanicum, it gave you a different option again. You know, these guys look like they're going to give you a different faction of good, as it were, to collect. So yeah, I think it's cool.
Very well done. The armor design is really cool. Little spacemen. They're not my cup of tea, but I'm very pleased that everyone's into them, and I hope I hope the hype distracts people from Eldar, so I can have my Eldar to myself again, and then that's popular. So
I'm really intrigued to see what they do, like helmets wise, and what they're going to look like in there. Like you said, the vehicles, because I think if I remember right, they used to have like
faces.
Well, this is. I think this is from a sort of our point of view of the podcast and what we do. That's probably the bit I'm most interested. Like, it's cool, right? Will I do an army of them? Oh, I don't know. Maybe right now I want to, but who knows next week.
Exactly.
But it's more that just like when we saw the Cruel Boys faction come out for AOS, I'm just excited to see what a sensibly new thing will look like. Like, what will their design, you know, language be with it? You know, or how will they build it? I think could be really fun. And I might like it, I might not, but that's going to intrigue me. Like, what are they going to do?
Same for me. It's really intriguing just to see something completely brand new is the bit that I'm really excited about. And like you said, I might look at them and go, oh, they're amazing. But actually, will I do an army? Maybe not. But if I see them, I like every aspect of it.
The caveat here is obviously that, yes, me and Rich are absolutely doing massive armies of them this year. Hopefully, we'll buy them. Yeah, and maybe we'll keep each other honest and
maybe
and get them done. But if Andy's going to buy an Eldar army, mate, we've got to, you know, who better to fight them? But yeah, I'm sure we'll talk plenty about them when we see a little bit more about them. What about the chat having a little natter? Yeah, they seem keen. There's
a good comment about the Eldar.
Celtic paintings in the chat. That's cool. The person who did the elf and wolf. That's rad.
Got some very special guests in the chat tonight. I think it's because we might chat about them, so they want to hear.
Ben Mack. Yeah, Ben Mack's in there. Big up Ben Mack. Gavin working on his sword skills. Nice. Well, on that note, then let's chunk straight into the main segment. I think so.
Juicy.
Because I'm sure if you're watching this, I'm sure you're aware we had our first Golden Demon competition in 2 years.
3
years over
2
in
years, 2 years, 10 months
over at Adepticon, and also the first US Golden Demon for 10 years, I think. And Matt and Andy and a bunch of our chums made the trip over, and obviously did a great big raid and did incredibly well. So congratulations to you two. Obviously, we'll talk about that a bit later. But I think you two are just going to give us your thoughts on how it all went. We've got a few questions to sort of pick your brains for, but I'm just keen to hear you two nerd out about it a bit. I've deliberately tried not to talk to you both much about it. So, yeah, take it away.
Do you want me to start, Matt? Shall I kick things off?
Yeah, you can go first and I'll take your lead.
Yeah, you know, for me, I'm not going to say Golden Demon is my hobby, but when I got back into the hobby, I was like, oh, I always loved Golden Demon. I should try that. So when I got back into it, I really just wanted to participate in that. And since I started doing that with Rich in 2014, just done every single one. And it was a really nice yearly, or, you know, more often than yearly event where you get to see some people, and just missed it so much the last few years, just for meeting people, some drinks, and, you know, all that chilled out stuff. And I was quite pleased because, you know, we had 2 years of no shows, and I still painted stuff I was, you know, really proud of, did better stuff. So I kind of learned, okay, I don't need competitions to keep the drive in the hobby. I just like painting stuff. But it was also cemented how awesome and important they are, because we just had the best time start to finish. Just even even getting collected from my house in the car, like, all right, lads, let's go. It was the best, just boys trip. And I think because it hadn't been on for so long, more people were up for it, because I do like a lot of the shows, and sometimes it's on my own, and me and Rich used to go to Monty and stuff like that, but I tend to go on my own to LVO and Adepticon. But 5 or 6 of us going out was just epic. So just such a nice social thing before you've even got the competition. And everyone we went, which is pictured there in the bottom right, we all put in loads of effort to entries, and even the build up was great because we're all chatting about working on our entries and all this encouragement. So just a really positive hobby space, and it just kind of built up to that event really. And I don't know. Well, anything else to say, Matt, about the build up?
Yeah, it was. I mean, you kind of said it all. It was a real, there was a lot of anticipation for it.
Yeah.
Everyone, as sort of the days were getting on, we were all kind of painting our last things, and everyone was like, "Is this good? Is this good? Send photo, whip," and then it was just really exciting to just get there again and be at an event.
And I think one thing that was huge for me was we turned up and we went in, and I just saw this enormous Golden Demon sign, and it was like, wow, they're putting some major effort in here. Like this is so cool, because obviously Golden Demon looks cool and when it's at Warhammer Fest in the UK, but there's so much like signage, and it was just felt hyped up as like they're trying to make a big deal out of this, which is what we want, because the people that participate in Golden Demon is a niche within a niche, whatever. People, you've heard that a million times, but it's quite very few people on the scale of the hobby and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really nice to see all that hype and things like that. So yeah, just as soon as you got there, you're like, whoa, this feels like a big deal. And the cabinets were amazing. The space they had for it was huge, and it just felt really epic from the get-go. Like, it's not shooed off into a corner somewhere.
Dark, dingy rooms.
Yeah. So yeah, just that was great. But we're used to doing the Golden Demon where maybe you go on the Sunday morning, you put your stuff in, you have lunch, and then they give you the results.
Yeah.
But we entered Thursday morning. Like Thursday morning, we put our stuff in the cabinets. I think I was the only diorama for about 2 days on my own. And I was like, oh, I've got this one for a couple of days. And then we didn't get the results till Sunday. And we just had a really nice social time, but it got to a point on Saturday where we all just like, right, I need the results now. I'm just like, everyone's...
Yeah, it's stressful enough when you've entered and you got to wait the next day to find out the entries, but to find out the winners.
3 days, man.
3 days, like, oh god, that sounds awful.
It was 3 years off. Like, the anticipation was massive, and then going to America for it, and then 3-day wait for the results. Like, all these things were like, but yeah, it was just brilliant. And tried to stay away from the cabinets, because you don't want to be a little cabinet horner and you just stick around there. So we spent tried to spend as much time in Chicago City as we could.
That's a change. You're always a cabinet haunter. Whenever a Golden Demon,
there's always a few of them, isn't there?
You just hang there.
Yeah, but it's normally only a 2-hour wait, mate. This was 3 days. You can't do 3 days by the cabs. You can't do 3 days. I was like, right, we got to spend the whole day out of this place.
Play some ping pong. That was fun.
Yeah, ping pong was the best. I played ping pong like a ballerina, but I get the results, so ain't nothing. But just that the build up was massive. But yeah, just hanging around and seeing people around the cabs again, talking about minis was awesome. Super cool. And it's weird because like I did Golden Demon 2019, and then we started doing Patreon, this YouTube, this podcast, all these things we started after the last competition, and it was really nice. People like, oh, I watched this, or I did this tutorial. Some people are like, oh, this is my model, I use your tutorial, and it's in the Golden Demon. That was like super cool. But that was really different because like you go to event and whatever. But yeah, it was kind of strange for people to do that, because I just stayed in this little room making making internet videos, and then seeing it actually have an impact was kind of cool.
It was nice to like see people that you'd been painting their pieces for like a year and just get back to it again. Like that was cool.
So this was definitely one of the questions I wanted to. It feels like the natural one to stick in now is: were there artists or pieces? Because I know some people like to keep their pieces under wraps, which is cool. Like we spoke about that before. Like anticipation is really fun as well. But were there certain artists that you knew were going, that you were really excited to see them, what they were going to bring, or were there pieces that you knew were coming? For instance, because obviously we've had this weird situation where, some of the pieces you've entered, Andy, have been done for years now. Like I'd even forgotten you'd done one of them.
2019, mate. 2019.
So there's pieces that you, if you were really nerdily into this, you may have known about. Like, were there pieces or people that you were really looking forward to, both of you?
Ben and Matt for me.
So that's Ben Comets, Matt Sexrich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to see the rattling tank. I was happy.
Yeah. That rattling tank that made our best of 2020.
21.
One of our roundups could have been off, but yeah, might have been 20 or 21. Yeah.
I was mostly stoked to see Matt, I think, because like obviously Matt's done definitely in my top 3 Slayer Sword winners ever. I don't know whether he'd want me to say, but he didn't finish one thing that I am pumped for. So sorry, Matt, I've hyped you up now. He's still got some pieces back, but yeah, he's super creative, so I wanted to see his stuff. Did a really nice Lord of the Rings entry, so that was cool. Trying to think who else really I was pumped to see. Steve Garcia. I love his painting. His Lion-O really impressed me, so always like to see his stuff. So yeah.
That's cool. I mean, you could have said no. That's fine. It was just genuine curiosity. It wasn't like trying to feed.
We did actually. We did say about Gavin. Actually, we were talking about like, who's American painters that
we had Gavin's Blood Bowl lizard on, didn't we? A few episodes ago. Yeah.
Me and Matt were obsessed with that, and we were just saying like who could go, but we didn't know like Gavin was going for sure. But we were like, he's basically, we knew his painting style the judges would love because it's so sharp and nice. So we're like, I wonder if he'll go, because that Blood Bowl skink's epic. Like, hopefully he does, and maybe we'll talk about that later. But obviously he did, and he did okay. So that was something we just talked about briefly, but didn't really know. So I guess like after the results, you got more hype for next year, because you got more idea of what names will actually go. Because that's one of the problems. And people would send me pictures of stuff in the build-up, like, oh, do you think this will place in Golden Demon? And I'd be like, no, because he's not going to go. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, he doesn't go. And there's just certain people that don't do the shows, which is cool. It's really expensive, and it's a treat to go to Adepticon. It's hard to get there. So there's some amazing stuff out there that could compete, could win. In that build up, people are like, yeah, this is going to win Golden Demon, stuff like that. But you have to physically go, and it's such a long way. So
I think with it being in America and Adepticon, there was a little bit of like of an entry barrier to start with, almost. There was quite a few Europeans that wouldn't have gone just because of the sheer cost of it.
Yeah, it was not cheap. I'm on lockdown spending now.
I saw my credit card statement the other day.
It was worth it, mate. I don't know whether it's something to talk about or not really, but we've chatted about it sort of off air, as it were, a few times. This barrier to entry idea of be it distance, be it price, be it exclusivity of tickets. It's just something that exists, right? It's always existed.
No way around.
It was lovely to see a small group of Europeans, and I'm sorry, I don't know if some Aussies made it or some Any other, we've got a couple of Middle Eastern guys, haven't we? The guy out in Iran, awesome painter. I can't remember. I don't know whether they made it out there or anything like that. But I know we had a small group of Europeans made it out. But in a percentage idea, what was that, like 5% of the field, if not less? I don't really know. Like, what was the turnout like? Big, small,
massive for
massive, right?
For the event.
Yeah. So it's just as challenging for the US guys to make it over, to here and do it. And I assume Adepticon as a venue has an enormous capacity, right? So that's cool. When we're seeing these painting competitions at venues like such as Warhammer World and stuff that has a small capacity for basically health and safety reasons, right? It's nothing particularly exciting, but this is a small venue. It's a small venue. So at least you didn't have the restriction of that with Adepticon, I guess. And the same with Warhammer Fest over here. They tend to do it, don't they, at a stadium or a convention centre type thing.
Yeah, in those ones that are like stadiums and stuff, there is no actual limit to how many people can enter, is there? So, like, if you've got a ticket to the day, you can enter. Yeah,
but it's definitely, there's always going to be barriers, isn't there? And I suppose it comes down to really how much you want it. There's we've said it a lot of times that a lot of people have the capabilities of placing in painting competitions, but actually that obsession, it's not just the dedication, or it's the obsession of wanting to be at it.
God, yeah, really.
There's not that many, and whether that's in your control or not, that's yet another thing. So yeah, it's just worth touching on. Is there's always going to be caveats, isn't there, to accessibility? And you say, do an online one like the MPO and stuff, but then that's got its own challenges because it's very hard to judge not in the hand and stuff. So there is no perfect.
That's one. Isn't it?
Yeah. There's no perfect way of doing it, is there?
I mean, this year was particularly expensive, like just for flights and stuff like this, and you also had to do your negative test to get out into the country to begin with.
Well, people don't want to go because of that, right?
Yeah,
that's another barrier.
It was,
but given all of that, would you say, because we've all been to Golden Demons, right? We might as well say it. We've been to Golden Demons where the turnout has been less than stellar, where you will have seen 4 entries in a category.
Yeah,
right.
You're like, I wonder what my chances are.
Right, but like, how was the turnout for this? Like, were you pleasantly surprised? Like,
it was. It really varied in the categories, and it varied different to normal because there's obviously more popular categories, and it was tricky because in the first couple of days there wasn't many entries in. So we entered Thursday. You could enter Saturday. I think 4 p.m. was the latest. Yeah. So you had ages. Some people, Steve, ran to make it with their entry because they were painting in their hotel room and they entered it at 59 parts. But they won, so that's fine. They needed those minutes. But so like the first few days, it was looking like a bit empty. And like I said, I plopped my silly big diorama in a cabinet and it was just sat on its own for
looking a bit lonely.
Years. And I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be how's this what's this going to be like? But then by Saturday, it was super busy. Single figure 40k and AOS was like, whoa, heaps of stuff. The squads were really busy. Lord of the Rings packed.
Yeah. Surprising.
Some of the so there were some categories, man, there was a lot of stuff in. There's a few where there wasn't tons of stuff, and it surprised me there wasn't loads in 40k large, and I don't think there was that many in AOS large either, and I love the monsters, so that was surprising.
That is surprising, given how many, like, the push there's been for monster models as well, right, over the last couple of years.
Yeah, but the ones that were there, people would put loads of work into. They were high quality, so I think the standard was great throughout. But yeah, there were categories with fewer entries in, but it was busy, and also there were so many cabinets. I think there must have been, I don't know, 5 times the amount of Crystal Brush, because I think Crystal Brush only has 3 cabinets, and they had 2 cabinets just for diorama and 3 just
It's like
single.
15 down, and then
Cabinets.
3 across and 15 down again. There was loads.
Nice.
Tons of space.
They did look like the cabinets looked good, right?
Mm.
Like I can't think of one GD where the or even just general painting competition where there isn't the cabinets were shit, lighting was shit, blah blah blah, right? Like these look good, right? And that's great to see.
I was speaking to I think it was Andy. He said they had put some serious money into buying the cabinets,
Good.
and they're there for the next time. So
yeah,
that was what was so nice, right? We got all this amazing signage, which sounds lame, but actually was so cool. Like massive Golden Demon banners, loads of cabinets. By Saturday, tons of entries, and people seem to really care about Golden Demon, and that's what got me buzzing the most, because us four, especially like me and Matt, we're just freaks for Golden Demon, and it is like a small bit. Like people don't care. A lot of people don't care, even if they love Warhammer. But it seemed people really did care there, and like there was loads of people wanted to see and look, and that was epic. But yeah, I would say that it was it was a busy one. There's no doubt about it.
That's good. That's good.
In all,
was there like a few years? Sorry, go on, Matt.
No, I was going to say, I think in the end there was about 500-ish entries, maybe a bit more total. So it was pretty good for first time back.
Great.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, just on the minis, remember a few years ago at GD where everyone painted that skink? The original
2013.
2013, yeah.
You, Matt.
Birmingham.
You're slipping, mate. Come on. You can't pull it back now, Jesus. But I was just saying, was there anything like that where there is, because it's been such a long time, we've had so many miniatures released in the 2 or 3 years since it's been. Was there still an overriding favorite? Was there a particular squad or a particular single fig that you saw lots of, just out of curiosity?
God, I don't think so.
No. It was pretty diverse.
You got the Primaris characters. In large, there was a couple Mortarians, a couple.
I was going to say, was it Golden Demon, Leviathan, and
no? But there was no Magnus the Red. There was no. There was no
Nagash.
There wasn't. Yeah, one Nagash.
They're quite old now. Them minis, though, right?
Yeah.
Nagash is. Yeah, I mean he was
8 years old
before Age of Sigmar come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that does surprise me. All right, so why do you think, because every single Golden Demon, to the best of my knowledge, since we've been back into it, there has been the obvious entry, hasn't there? Right, there's been the one that stood out that say X% of people have all painted that model, and we joke about Golden Demon Leviathan, but it was like that for more than one Golden Demon, right? There was just Leviathan Dreadnought after Leviathan Dreadnought.
I think, wasn't there a Leviathan
why do you
for
think
gold, silver, and bronze ones?
Well, yeah, but why do you think maybe there wasn't that for this? Considering that you're saying there was, and I think Max has just said in the chat there was about 560 entries. What do you think? What do you think is the possible reason that we haven't had that for this one?
Well, it's been. There was someone just said there's a few Abaddons and Sigvalds. Cheers, Max. Yeah, that is true. There was a lot of Sigvalds. But I was going to say there's 3 years of releases, right? So there's more. So then maybe you're going to get fewer repeats. I don't know. So you can only enter one thing per category, right? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a reason. I don't know.
Well, let's spin that one off then quickly. That's a very good point, because certain miniatures drop, don't they? And you're like, that's going to be a Golden Demon. You've had it, Andy. Certain miniatures drop, you're like, I'm painting that for Golden Demon. That's got Golden Demon entry written all over it.
Yeah.
So let's say we haven't had anything. 2020, 2021. What models just off the top of your head that have come out in that time? What ones do you think were those ones that deserved that may even have missed out on it? Because by the time it rolls, Sigval was one, right? Yeah.
Whatever his name is, the big skeleton dude.
Catacross.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some Catacross. When did Abaddon come out?
Contrast paints years and years ago.
It's old,
17, 18.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I can't really think when like time's such a blur.
That's right. Don't worry about it. But have a think on it maybe as we're having a natter. But I think it'd be nice because there is something that makes them stand out, isn't there, as competition entries? And I think that's probably a show we can do separately and sort of think about. Maverick's just asked me in the chat. No, I don't think so, bud. But we might address it a little bit later. So if there wasn't anything common, Rich, did you have any questions?
No, I'm good for the moment.
So if there weren't any common, I say common, if there weren't popular minis necessarily, how about sort of themes or styles? Was there anything that because obviously we're now nerds and connoisseurs of the painting scene, right? We've decided to put ourselves on that whatever you'd call it pedestal and to say this, we are going to comment on the scene. Anything like that, were there a lot of plinth wankers, backdrops, certain stylistic things you've seen a lot of? I mean, it's obviously NMM.
Lots of plinths.
Well, yeah, I mean, the biggest winner of Golden Demon was James Tarrow.
Yeah.
Like everyone's on a Tarrow plinth. So well done to him for being the real winner of Golden Demon. But also, well done to Matt for winning with a backdrop. We said, "Can you done?" And very own Matt's done it.
There was quite a few backdrops there, actually.
From James Tarrow.
Yes,
Tarrow Model Maker.
Tarrow Model Maker.
The original and best. Don't get the imitators.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think definitely in the last 3 years, the standard in general's gone up. I think that there's just so many good paint shops you see online, right? And that was definitely evident in the cases because everything just had cool ideas and things like that. And one thing that's I think a separate subject altogether is loads of people have done very elaborate techniques, interesting ideas, big dioramas, OSL, all this stuff. But that's not what necessarily won because it's still what's going to be favored in a Golden Demon is the technical painting style, and they want to see stuff, clean. And I think there was people displayed loads of creativity and complex, difficult ideas, but maybe those weren't the ones that won. Because the more complex you get, it is difficult to keep it neat and tidy. And I think that's why maybe when you look at the results compared to what you see on Instagram the last few years, maybe you feel like you're not that impressed. But the winners in the hand really were quite impressive. And I remember just talking to people who were looking at Robin's vampire unit, and they were like, "I've never seen minis that good before." And Robin's got loads better the last 3 years, and I've said to him, these vampires are your best work, but each one of them is single figure level, and
they presumably were in the discussion for the sword, right?
I believe they were number 2.
Yeah,
so that's a rumor. I can neither confirm nor deny.
He's going to be fuming.
Yeah, I think
he's got his Man of War. He's fine.
Yeah, rare as entity. But yeah, I think that anyone who saw those in the cabinets were like, "Whoa, they're nuts" and stuff like that. So that's the best thing about Golden Demon is seeing stuff in person. But in terms of any over techniques, no, I think people aren't afraid to do stuff like OSL, NMM. You're seeing that more.
Yeah.
But the stuff that still wins will be the people who have executed their chosen technique best. So doesn't matter if it's not a tick list. I've used these techniques to winning. But yeah, if you can use those techniques and do them to amazing level, then you'll win.
Nice. A few people in the chat saying Be'lakor. They thought they might see more Be'lakors. He's like a candidate for like
there's 2 in the UK GB. All right, there is 2 I know of. So yeah, and they're very good, both of them. So there you go.
Might get to see them then. So Matt, were there any entries that, if we're saying that maybe we're even past the point now where there can be a surprise, something particularly innovative in the sense of, as we say, people are confident with NMM, people are confident with OSL, people are confident with different, what even 5 years ago would have been perceived as quite unattainable techniques to most people, right? So if we're taking that out of it, were there any pieces that particularly surprised you or took you back or impressed you? And it doesn't have to be because, oh my goodness, they were painted excellent. I mean, if everything from concept through to style, through to composition, whatever. Anything that stood out for you, Matt?
One of my favorite pieces was To the Moon. It was like a grot on a rocket pointing towards the moon, had a backdrop, and it was just proper orky, and I loved it. But
nice.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Such a cool concept.
Anthony, that was, he did. He won actually in the squad with his skeleton unit, but he had one of the most fun entries. There's loads of stuff that was so fun and enjoyable to look at. There was one diorama in an old cigar case, so it was like a wooden thing that opened up, and it was so amazing to look at. And then some really other creative stuff. Chris Suri did a really cool squig diorama, and there was loads of stuff that was really interesting, really creative, really daring. Unfortunately, in this competition, it won't win because it is about Golden Demon's about technical painting, which is one aspect of painting, and I think that's a good criteria to have for this painting show. And there's loads of other shows that maybe push creativity more, but it's still cool to see all those pieces in the cabinet. And I think one of my favorite pieces, and I can't remember her name, but she did a Tyranid Hive Tyrant, and it was a converted lion
Simone.
with an L. Yeah, and it was James R converted as like an exotype leaping off, and I was like, I would do that duel. Like, I like everything about this. Like, if that was built and created for me, I would paint that.
That was her first GD as well. Like, first entry for a GD. It was insane.
Nice.
Strong flex.
Yeah. So, that inspired me, and it didn't win anything. But that inspired me the most because I was like, oh, that's the sort of thing I'd like to do. How dynamic and creative it was. That's the important stuff. So I think
that's the. I mean, that was going to be a follow-up question. Was there anything that's particularly inspired you for future projects? Because we talk so much about the importance of attending and being part of and taking pride in being part of a great show, and understanding that you contribute towards that being a great show, regardless of whether you take a prize home, right? Because exactly as you said there, you can inspire someone else. You can encourage, you can inspire, whatever with it. So let's talk about this. We haven't, I don't suppose by any chance we've got a slide of it, have we, Matt?
Of
this Simone's piece that we're talking about, the James R.
I could quickly make one.
See if we can natter long enough for him to find it. So what was it? Let's grill you about it. What particularly then, Andy's got you? Because you're going to probably do at least one new piece, right, for UKGD? You got
started it
6 months, right? So what particularly got you going with it, other than the fact it was Eldar?
I'm going to make a whole video for YouTube about this. It's basically how I feel about competing in Golden Demon. It's good to have time to let your thoughts process, but this Golden Demon did really affect me in terms of what I want to work towards. And without diving too deep, I sort of tried to be more creative because I felt I wasn't very creative. Like, I've done some really cool stuff, but I've bought a model, I've painted it well, cool. That is cool. It'll always be cool. But in my mind, I was kind of, so what? What can you do? And that's why I really tried with my 3 pieces to be a little more creative. And the older the piece, the more creative it was. So my Celestine squad isn't very creative. It's Celestine out of the box, but I like how I framed it, built a triangle, nice base. That was cool. And then I'm still really happy with my duel, even though it's 2 years old, which is very rare for me. But I probably got the nicest feedback on that. I got some worse feedback on the other stuff. But yeah, I got the nicest feedback on that little jewel. And I just liked, how I made it fly and little stuff like that is what gives me the buzz, is just coming up with that. Anyway, yeah, what I enjoyed was, doing more creative stuff and the storytelling. And after the results, I was very happy, obviously, but it's very clear from what was getting the sword and stuff that technical painting is what you need to do to win. And I did, this is a long story. I'm going to keep it short. But I felt for a while, okay, actually, I'm really happy with what I did, but I should focus more on being a cleaner painter because I am a bit rough around the edges and I could spend longer on stuff. That's what I need to focus on. And after a little while, I sort of said, well, actually, no, you shouldn't do that, because what you've enjoyed is being more creative. And even though I'm really unhappy with some stuff like diorama, I'm heading in the right direction. And then looking at that jewel with that X-type piece and stuff, that's what's fun. And there you go. So,
there we go. Good work, Matt.
That's
awesome.
That's what gets me going. And for a little while, I thought, right, I need to do a single figure, neat and tidy. And I do still want to do that as an aim one day. But actually, I was really heading in the right direction with my hobby. I've done my first real storytelling piece with some nondescript characters. It's not like a Primarch. It's the two little witch hunters and a little scene. That's where I need to take it. So all the stuff that had that narrative is what got me going. So I had a few favorites, but this was one of them, and it's because it's just my cup of tea. Everything in this gets me going. Color palette, composition. It's an elf riding a beast. That's basically why I like it.
Shock horror.
Yeah. Basically, that's why I like it. But I think
lots of purple.
It's a really interesting point that you said, Drew, though, about like the what style you paint it in for the Golden Demon, because in essence, it's a model for Golden Demon, and the purpose of entering its Golden Demon is to win with it. So surely that should be the thought process in the painting style. So I completely understand that you do like doing the creative stuff like the diorama and that kind of thing. But like it is interesting because it's been a while since we've done Golden Demons, but whenever I was painting something for Golden Demon, I was always very much a miniature out the box, paint it as well, not even as well as I could, paint it and then enter it. Apart from once where I actually changed a couple of bits, and that was the one that I enjoyed the most. The other ones where I've just taken it out of the box and painted it, even if it won something, I still don't like it as much as the one time I actually, I'm going to change this a little bit and make it a bit more interesting. I think it's just a really, really difficult balance to hit. Like, there is a sweet spot where you're making it your own, I think, but you're still adhering to what the judges want. And in my opinion, that is the point of painting it for the Golden Demon, is you
exactly for competition painting. Yeah. Precisely. Yeah. I mean, and we talk about this on a lot of episodes, don't we? And it's been really nice, I think, chatting with you, Andy, over the last few years, really, about your approach to it and your decision to be, I sort of said, oh, you need to paint dioramas. They're cool. And it's nice to watch someone's progression as a painter, particularly when it's a mate and you see which you guys obviously saw up close on this trip, particularly with the whole gang bringing back statues, which is awesome. But I think as well, it's that I guess it's that idea of not necessarily going. There's lots of approaches to entering the competition, right?
Yeah,
there's painting to win it. There's painting to show your art off, and there's also being realistic. We've said in the past as well, there are pieces that could go to a World Model Expo or a Monty or whatever that wouldn't necessarily place it in the same way at a Golden Demon. And your inspirations in the past, Andy, have been people like, say, Mark Masklands, who's he does have an artistic bent, right? He is a very creative, artistic person. He's not stressed about how crisp everything is, right? So if you're coming from that direction as being your inspiration, it's no surprise necessarily that turning up to one competition where crispiness is important, that doesn't happen. It's the same as if we went to Euro Militaire or whatever and tried to paint an Abrams tank like I was painting a Predator. Right, it wouldn't make any sense. People are like, "What the fuck is this metallic paint you've put on this model? What is this?" Right, I'm like, "It's Predator, man. It's cool. Like, what are you on about?" Like, but it's horses for courses. It doesn't need to be a bad thing, does it?
I actually, sorry, mate.
No, go on.
I really would like to do a whole episode of creativity versus technicality, because I think it's a whole subject that this competition's unearthed. I'd like to talk about it in a nice, positive, constructive manner. I think it's a whole episode, but definitely for me personally, I feel I love like clean painted models because it looks nice to the eye. There's no doubt. You can say what you want about whatever, but if something has been done with care, because that's the difference. It's not about like being artistic or whatever. It's have you put care into it, and you can do stuff on purpose, and brushstrokes can add to stuff, texture can add to stuff, but just everything needs care. That's what's going to win. And I think I want to carry on trying to be more creative, do some better dioramas, but I also want to push myself to do stuff really neat and clean and things like that, but not to win, but because that does satisfy me more. Because if I do a piece that I've rushed, I go, I wish I'd spent longer on this little bit. And if I've done something that I'm really happy with, then I get a buzz from that. And fewer pieces the better, I think. As people say, you shouldn't put your eggs in one basket, but I'm thinking, nah, all the eggs, one basket, like one piece you're proud of. I mean, look at Matt. He had one, smashed it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think I'm going to try and do that moving forward. Like I think I need to do a video of my personal thoughts because I'll ramble forever. But I think I need to start painting my best for me, but not thinking about any kind of like, how can I win Golden Demon? Oh, I should paint a smaller model and be more technical. No, I should be creative as I can, put everything into it so I'm happy with it.
But that's an incredibly positive attitude, but also that's interesting as you as an artist, right? As you as a person, as development and all the rest of it. Actually, it all goes away a little bit from you're going to have other people, just as you have been in the past, where you're going to pick up the statues, right? I'm going to this comp to take home the prizes, smash and grab, take the lot, right? So I think it's definitely like that's a completely legit thing to do as well, right? Like competitive painting is competitive painting, and paint for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm in that camp of just paint what you like, but that's why I don't do competitions.
I think the thing is that the technical aspect of Golden Demon you can complain about if you want, but I think it's cool because actually it means I don't get away with phoning it in and slacking it off, because all I feel about this competition is I'm heading in the right direction. I've got a long way to go. Take more time, do fewer pieces, and it just doesn't matter. Like, I just want a couple pieces I'm happy with every year. That's fine. I think
that's definitely. So one of the things for me is I was really jealous when you guys were all out there, and it actually reignited that I would love to go and do a demon again. I think for me the whole thing was just changing my approach to it before, because it's been a long time since I did demons, and there were the mini demons. So there was a point where there was about 8 or 10 of us all going, and it was the same 8 or 10 of us that would be going home with the demons at the end of the event. So it got to a certain point where I was just blunderbusting stuff, and I'd be like, right, it's 4 weeks before the demon, right? What can I fucking finish off real quick and enter, and maybe I'll get something with it. And it, like, the more and more I entered, the worse and worse it got. So like when I started, I actually entered stuff properly for it, and then it got worse and worse because I knew I could get away with it. Until the last time I tried it and I didn't win anything, and I was really pissed off, and that's when I walked away from it. But actually, in hindsight, thinking about it, well, why was I pissed off? I was trying to enter with stuff that shouldn't have won. If I'm being honest, it was shit. Like, it was absolute shit.
Be proud of your piece, right? That's the only important thing.
Exactly. That's the thing.
It's respect as well, though, right? I mean, that's something that has come up quite a lot this week, obviously. But I mean, if you respect the competition, you should therefore expect the competition to respect you. So as you're saying, if they're investing in better cabinets, better presentation, and hopefully better coverage, if we're lucky, I think you should expect that if you're willing to respect the competition.
Yeah.
You know, and we did have a few weird years, didn't we? But
We did, yeah.
future's definitely bright. So Andy, I think you sort of answered another question there, which was sort of lessons learned from your own entries. Would you say that's fair? You want to switch it over to Matt, or would you say was there anything you hadn't? Was there anything particular? It sounds to me like it's fewer pieces, more time, marry creativity with crispiness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Matt's got a lot to say, but
Yeah,
I think it's kind of maybe it's obvious, but the more I was rewarded, and it was comparative to my level of effort. So I had 5 entries, and I brought 2 single figures, and I knew they wouldn't place because I didn't put 100% into them. I loved them because I did them for like Patreon basically, and you know I did them and I rushed bits and stuff, and I love how they look. So I brought them to go in the cabinet because I thought, why not? People might get a kick out of it, and people said, I like your Eldar with the cat. And I was like, that's cool. The back's terrible, so it's a good thing you can only see the front. That's why I didn't win. And then, yeah, the things that I put so much work into my Celestine and my diorama, and they were for the Celestine was for 2020 Golden Demon, which was cancelled. It was for that Golden Demon, so I saved it. Resisted the urge of getting likes on social media. Take some lessons, people. And the diorama, and those were the 2 that won, and I put everything into those, and they were for this show. That was the purpose. And yeah, the amount of work I put in was they're the ones that got the awards back. So obviously I'm lucky to have got those awards, but it was directly proportional to how much work I put in, because I just felt I did my absolute best on those. Loads of mistakes and things that could be better, but at the time, I tried my hardest, and the things I didn't try on, I didn't win. So I think that's funny.
That.
To work out. Yeah, it just worked out exactly level of effort. I put everything into the 2, they got gold. I put a lot of effort into my jewel, but not quite as much effort. Could have polished that more. That got a bronze. Really happy with that result. And then the 2 I didn't think were placed didn't. So I don't know. I am lucky to sit and say that happened that way, because I'm sure people can say I put loads of effort in and didn't. But yeah, I don't know. It felt like right to me.
it's competition in it as well. At the end of the day with that. So it's just had someone S2E7 pop up in the chat, just indulge me for 2 seconds. Who do you reckon this might be, Andy? Missed you, Bruise! ! Great listening to you guys while building the first heresy models in years, bringing back the good times, and then a jizzing baguette.
It's Big Julian, isn't it?
It's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be. Anyway, enough for that. Just in that, I think that's.
Were you born in 70s?
But yeah, good. No, he can't. No chance. But yeah, I think chat's all going off on talking around kind of alongside us at the moment, which is quite nice. There's lots and lots of people in there, which is great to see. It seems like it's definitely got people invigorated, which is all you can hope for, really, isn't it? With it. So Matt, let's thanks for all that, by the way, Andy. That was really interesting. I think we'll definitely do an interview with you. I think where we can indulge and let you waffle. I think it'd be fun. Andy, Matt, rather, talk to me. What's obviously now? Congratulations, Golden Demon winner.
Got to go
like
in your own
the
book
biggest,
now, mate.
the biggest Golden Demon nerd probably on the planet. You know,
He's done it himself.
You're obviously suggesting that the way to win is to do thousands of hours of Excel.
Yes.
Until you've broken it down into what the
until your eyes bleed.
Spreadsheet your way to a demon. It's your memoir. This is going to be wonderful. But no, congratulations, dude. It was a lovely piece. Obviously, I don't know if you've got a slide of it to pop up. It's obviously nice when your mates win it as well. But how about you from this sort of lessons learned? Is it you've got your demon, you're done?
Woo!
Or is it,
Here he is.
Now that's got to be the baseline and we go on? Or, or are you more a very specific approach to it where you go, right, this should have been better, this should have been better, therefore the next piece I work on, that will be better and that will be better? What's your sort of thoughts?
I mean, I will always enter, regardless. You can't turn up to a GD without just having something to show. It's just embarrassing. But no, I'm super happy with it. I honestly didn't think it would place going there when a few other pieces popped in. I thought bronze at best, but then a few pieces came and I thought, oh, no, they've got something over me. But you're always probably a bit more hypercritical of your own stuff than anyone else. But it is the best thing I've ever painted, so I was like really bloody happy.
I said that to you before, didn't I?
Yeah.
So it's genuine.
There was a little holy shit moment on the stream, which I think everyone
Love
heard.
that.
I
Love
have
that
to take
so much.
I have to take over and say the best moment of the whole weekend was a couple other people as well, but seeing Matt win was epic. And just like Matt, the nicest thing was seeing very humble people that didn't think they had a shot, but they did their best because they wanted to be in the show, and seeing them so genuinely surprised because for the first time ever, I don't know if you guys know, they didn't put the top 3 on the shelves. So for the first time ever, we didn't know who'd won. So that's why,
so just to explain anyone new then, how did it used to work?
So you used to put your entries in, do the finalists, and then they'd go the top 3, bronze, silver, gold, they put on the top shelf before they announced it. They didn't know the order. So you might, you don't know if I've got gold or that, but you knew you'd won. So that was like, oh, we've got to that point. I know I've got a demon. I don't care which one it is. But this one, they didn't do that. So there might be like 5.
It's terrifying.
They did like 5 to 10 pieces. Yeah. Right? So Matt's squad's there, like commending. He's like, brilliant. I've got commended. I've achieved my goal. I'm done. But we just went to the ceremony, and it's never been like that before. And I thought we'd get round to it, but the ceremony was unreal. That was the whole weekend was great, but the ceremony was just amazing. Like they had to expand the room because so many people turned up.
I'd take a wall down.
Take a wall down, and it was so loud. But yeah, the coolest thing was seeing very humble people that had put loads of work into their pieces. They genuinely, not humble brag, were like, I ain't gonna win anything. And because they did these surprise results, Matt's there filming with his camera. And they're like, bronze, Matt Avis. And it was unbelievable, like, because we were all with him and everyone was so happy for Matt. And I don't think Matt could believe it.
Everyone was so quiet.
Chucked me the camera, and then I chucked the camera to someone else. And the buzz.
Everyone was so quiet.
No swearing, no swearing. Oh, shit.
I mean, everyone was so quiet in the room as well. So it was dead silent. And it was just me going, holy shit.
And then me, I'm like, oh wait, what?
It was
But there was a few people like that, and I think our friend Martin as well. He's not been in the hobby long, and man, I've never seen anyone work so hard. He was asking us, "Is this any good? Is this any good?" We're like, "Yeah, it's fine, mate. Crap, just do this, do this." Man, he worked so hard.
6 months.
He's not painted many models. He put everything to that Mortarion. Yeah. To see him win, people like David Paz, he's a Spanish painter. He did some great pieces, won a couple trophies. He was buzzing. Even Gavin, such a nice, humble guy. Like, you can say what you want. The skink was amazing, and he was very humble. He put everything into that mini, and that's what's cool to see. Nice people putting 100% effort in, and they get rewarded for it. So that was the nicest part for me, and I'm so glad Matt recorded the ceremony because it's really fun to watch back.
It's the best ceremony I think that's ever happened, just because of that unknown factor of the top 3.
Yeah, I can imagine, because someone put it in the chat just then. I mean, not necessarily to the point. I don't know necessarily if people would then take their miniatures and go home, but like there was this almost like relief. If you entered something and it got put on the top shelf, 1 of 3, you didn't know where it placed. Be like, I've got one. It's fine. I got one. It's fine. Whereas this, just sitting around waiting, it's so good.
It's such a good way
of doing it.
8 hours.
Really?
Really? The whole day.
Way more stress, but the buzz. It was amazing. But the summary for me of the whole event was in that ceremony, because the whole thing felt like a lot of camaraderie, and we went out together as friends, and we hang out with our American friends, like Will and everyone like that, and everyone was just buzzing off of miniatures at a show, and then it all came down to those results, and it was just crazy, and really, really happy that people would just stay to watch, because sometimes you go to a gaming event that a painting event's been slung into, and everyone's gone home, and you go get your award, and you're like, yeah, sweet, but yeah, the atmosphere was just amazing. Yeah, I think Aidan said watching it from the stage was mental, because he's obviously up there giving out the awards and seeing all of us.
It was so loud. Like, honestly,
yeah.
No matter how much I turned that microphone
that
down, it just didn't work.
That did come across in the video. Yeah.
There was no
comments on it as well.
Which
it was it was absolutely brilliant.
That sounds like an amazing event. What comps are coming up then? So if this has got people frothing about wanting to enter a competition, which we hope it does, what have we got coming up that we know of in the near future for you two as well? Particularly.
Got October GD.
It's got October GD. That's Nottingham. So it's Nottingham, UK. Warhammer World tickets TBC. What was the other one? World Model Expo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is another podcast, but some people didn't like the results because they were very technically based. And this is Golden Demon. It's always going to be that way. It's, this is Golden Demon. That's cool. But World Model Expo is another amazing show. And if you want to be creative and go wild, then that's a brilliant show to be at. For me, I love both. And I'll paint in a couple different styles. And that's how you can enjoy your hobby without getting annoyed. Anyway.
So World Model Expo summertime, in July. And that's
July,
over in Holland?
Eindhoven. It's the SMC hosts. So SMC is usually every year, and that's one of the best shows in the world. And World Model Expo basically swaps hosts. So I think it was in Chicago last time, funnily enough, and then before Italy. And the SMC guys, who are amazing, they're hosting it, and it's not been on for 5 years. So it's a massive show.
Hopefully, we're going to see if we can get some of those guys on to talk about it as well. So that should be cool.
As well.
Monty's back.
Lovely.
Sabino.
And I'm sure there's a ton of local competitions as well. Hopefully as everything's opening back up, I hope people are enjoying that and seeing that. So I hope it's I hope, as we said, that's you can hear the excitement, particularly from Matt and Andy, talking about this show just for time. We'll wrap up the segment. I think one thing we all wanted to say though with it was, if it has got you excited to enter these competitions, and you are nervous about showing your work to other people, showing your work to be judged, and in the world we live in now, it going online, and therefore everybody being invited to have an opinion about it. If you see any particularly negative stuff on there, if you see people, making themselves feel better by shitting on others, or just bagging on stuff or not understanding, don't stress about it. For every one of them, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are going to these events that are incredible painters that are worthy of respect. Andy, Matt here, as well as tons of people out there who just enjoy seeing your nicely painted miniature that you're going to inspire and you're going to excite, and they're going to enjoy it. So just, it's for those people and yourselves. Don't stress about all the other noise, because that's all it is noise. You've just seen how fun these events are.
Just a self.
Just remember, opinions like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
There we go. There we go. So let's close it out. It's been a few weeks, and I may have been slightly. Have I given you seven or eight, Matt? We'll rattle through them. It will be fine. Paint Cultist, hashtag we come up with for the show. If you finish a piece of work you're proud of, you want to share it on Instagram, hashtag Paint Cultist. There's 8,000, 9,000 on there now, which is pretty cool. All sorts of different manufacturers, different styles. Just a great way of opening yourself up to different things, perhaps to sort of out your comfort zone and see things you perhaps wouldn't have seen before. That's how I came across that cell shaded stuff. I think first off was following that as well. And I just go through and grab a couple of them and show them off at the end of the show, and usually can't remember what ones I've picked. So it's a nice surprise for me. What we got, Matt?
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon, right? Or Fox, as so potentially this is. I don't know whether this is
his signature.
a sanctioned. Oh, okay, cool. That's fine. Oh yeah, Fox Minis. There we go.
Yeah.
Good spot.
Rabbit in it.
That's why, Matt. Sorry. It's just rad, right? This isn't one of who was it who did all the? Was it Big Chard who did all the little Marvel minis or someone?
Yeah, Marvel Chippy, right? So
Yeah. Is that what this was from? I have no idea. It just was, this kind of stands out from every 10 Space Marines. You see something like this, it jumps out at you, and it's pretty good fun. I don't know, man. I've never got into this like cartoons and comics of that style, right? The Marvel, like in MCP, seems to be very popular at the moment, right? The Marvel game and stuff. I really ought to have a go at painting one of them, though. Do you ever get that? Like, do you ever sort of think of that
when I see them
style?
Yeah, when I see them like that, where there's massive blocks of highlighting and shade and stuff, I think that looks really, really cool. But then the idea of sitting down and do it, I don't even know where I'd start. It's probably just because I've never done it before. I'm like, where the fuck do you start with that?
It's like going back to square one, isn't it?
Yeah, and changing the way that, because my brain automatically paints the same way for just about everything these days. So I think it's difficult to go back to square one and be like, right, I've got to change my entire process for this.
I like the Night models Marvel, like that's my jam. But I couldn't. I don't think I'd ever do any of these. But yeah, when Night models did all those 75,
did they do the Batman game? Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of something else.
They did, yeah. No, they did.
It was them. All right.
But before that, they just did some like figures just to paint. Like Colossus is the most famous one. Alfonso did that amazing, like chrome cartoon effect on Colossus.
Who did the really good Thor?
Oh, Sergio Calvo.
Yeah, that's it.
Against the Hulk, yeah. Like, that's cool.
Will's just saying in the chat, it's part of a collaborative project. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Will. I did see that in the comment for a Nova Open charity raffle.
That's the one.
Me. So yeah, cool. Right, what's up next, Matt? Had to put this one in for Andy because I knew he'd be feeling a bit upset.
Did you see me like it?
Squat talk earlier in the show.
Thanks, mate.
But I just the palette wise and stuff. This is bang up my street, right?
Yeah.
I just like super limited, strong theme, lovely golds, delicious. Next, for me, that's happy. Can you imagine an army like that? Like, yeah, that's
so cool.
It's pretty,
I've got the Lumineth Buzz again. All right, I've got it.
It's good. I'm telling you, there's lots of people always asking when you're going to finish that project.
That's this week's stream, mate. That's this week's stream.
No, but it's this week's dream back again. At least my dreams rotate around the same.
Yeah, me too, mate. Right, and that's something to cling to. Okay, when you're
no idea what you're talking about,
right? But yeah, just lovely work. And again, I think Lumineth suffered maybe a little bit with getting dropped, sort of lockdown-ish time and all of that. I think in a few years' time, I suspect you'll look back on something like Lumineth and realise whether you like it or not, subjectively, what a big deal they were.
Oh, it's insane. The range is insane.
I got loads in the post today.
Right, what's up next, Matt?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is just really nice. It's talking about sort of plainer, simpler things, but it gives you a real canvas to work on. Right? I'm assuming this is 75. Like I'm going to guess it's 75 mil. But just lovely little details, and I get NMM. NMM's rad. It really is. But I like true metallics as well.
Yeah.
And I like things to look like. So it's just I don't it's a cool mini. It's something different.
Very cool.
And it's I think if I was going to go and try something larger scale, it would definitely be either like low fantasy, barbarian type thing, or something like our models or proper historicals.
Yeah.
I really need to do a historical mini. It's an aim. I haven't.
Yeah. It's just some. I don't know. They're just. What you said earlier about you can tell when someone's put thought and purpose into a paint job or an entry into a competition and stuff.
Just care, man. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's care, right? And I do feel like a lot of these historical miniatures have that to them.
Yeah,
like they may not always be as absolutely technically flawlessly sculpted or with quite as much flair, but there always seems to be a lot of care put into them.
I think that's a really good point. Like the flare specifically, like sometimes you'll see something and the color is quite drab because it's historical, but the level of detail or care that's gone into it is insane. But it's not quite as obvious because it can be a bit more muted.
But sometimes things should be muted, right? And like this is nice and it's soft and realistic. I always remember someone had a peasant Bretonnian army, right? And there was a whole army of peasants, which is cool. And there's no like crazy bits of like flair things that stand out. It's an army of peasants. It's supposed to be but drab and that's cool. But
so if you see like an old school Krieg army next to like a bright like Ultras army or something.
I don't want to be seeing any NMM Krieg. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I choose life.
I want flat with no edge highlights on my Krieg. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm just replying to someone in the chat. Well, I might as well say it now rather than try and type it. X-Lanax lot. Thanks for that. Great name. Andy, could you chat a bit about your diorama? Go check out Patreon. He's got like, what we are up to now? 10 plus videos on that project so far.
I'll do a video.
Maybe you'll do an actual wrap up.
Yeah, I'll do a video just talking about all my entries and that. Just that little.
So yeah, if you dig that kind of deep dive, go check it out. Right, I think there's a few more, Matt. So don't let me waffle too much. Oh, this went in basically because of backdrop. Yeah, it's so hot right now. But also it reminded me I need to buy that Gaunt's Ghost box. I really do. Yeah. That was a way back into the hobby for me with those books. So yeah,
that's one of those releases that kind of feel like it kind of passed me by. I was like, oh, cool, Gaunt's Ghost, and then never really thought about it. But
I can't. Do they not have rules for them in Kill Team? Because like that's the easiest. Like,
what the hell?
Bang it in White Dwarf.
No, they don't have a Kill Team for this.
I love the Gaunt model's amazing.
How many did you get?
Get it sorted. There's about 7 of them, I think.
Yeah.
There's nothing you could use.
Larkin, Gaunt, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing you could use. But that's a good shout.
Given Prime Loris stats, they deserve it. Like, if you've read the book,
true. You could.
Good enough.
You can use them as Space Marines.
Yeah. But yeah, and again, just lovely to see backdrops. And nice, busy in a good way bases.
Good thing about the internet. There's not many good things about the internet, but I think that people are braver and they're having to go at backdrops because they see more of them online, and that's cool. So I think that's awesome.
Mike winning best comment of the show, sexy burlap. It was sexy burlap on that longbowman. It sure was. Nice. What's that next, Matt?
Yes.
This lad had to go in. Brother Orinoco, as it was, I remember in the description. We haven't really talked about it. I'm sure we will. Obviously, Horus Heresy is getting a new edition and new Marines, and they are the Mark 6 Beaky Marines.
Which on Heresy,
Beaky's back.
5 years on from RTBO1, like we're getting new ones, and this guy got a updated model about 10 years ago when we got the Heresy models originally. So I'd love it if we get to see a third iteration of this model for
what is it?
For Heresy version 2. It's like a Master of Signals. So he's all that's like extra telephone buttons on his head, yeah.
He's
Money
and that's do you know those the label makers?
Yeah.
That you get printers. That's what the thing on the
is that what he does? He just puts like Land Raider and then sticks it on
exactly.
It.
No,
it was the first.
No. You know
what
when
he did was Label Maker.
No, you see the tanks and they've always got that scroll work on, right, and things like that. That's how they do it. That's how it's actually created.
So like their names, like Imperator Victor and stuff like that. Is that how
exactly?
Okay, cool.
That's exactly it. Law's my thing. What can I say? I think it was one more, Matt. Is there? Am I right?
2 more.
One or two more. Awesome. 2 more. This is outrageous. Love this.
That's really
a lot. Like a lot. I've no idea if it's part of a bigger model. I don't think it is. But yeah, it's so cool.
I love that style.
And I love the photo. I love the off-center presentation in the photo as well. Like that's just really cool. I'd love to be able to do that.
Like whenever you see photos of like beautiful elvish women or beautiful, soldiers and stuff, I'm never like, oh my god, that's amazing. But like stuff like this, big angry fat lads, love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, the only way it gets better is stick a beard on it, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
But is this one of those ones that you talk about sometimes, Andy, where the execution or whatever of the detail gets more precise where they want you to look, or because like there's certain like things on there that's very sketchy, right? Like the some of the brushstrokes, but when you look at the piece, you don't see that initially, right? Doesn't you look at it and think, my god, this is incredible, like, which it is, but then actually there's very, very deliberate visible brushstrokes, isn't there?
And this is, we'll come back to this on a whole episode, but they suit this figure, they add to the feel of it, and it's awesome. In the topic today, this wouldn't win Golden Demon because it's not judged on that, but it's still fantastic, and that's not in a negative way. But it's really cool, and it's a great example of not being super neat and tidy. You've got brush marks, but there's care. That's a difference. Like, it's done with care, and it gets the right feel across. But it really suits the scale. That makes a difference, because when it's 28 mil, it's hard. This is a bigger model, and it really suits the organic kind of monster. So it adds so much, and like you said, the photo's so fantastic that it adds to it. So it's really, really nice. I love the neck where you just see the marks. Don't blend it, leave it. It's fabulous.
It really is. I've just remembered what the last one is. This next one proper blew me away. I'd never seen anything like it. I just think it's flipping cool. Right?
Looks like a stingray monster. And
it's just like,
there was
I don't know. I want it. Is it 3D printed? Is it a sculpt? Is it what?
I have to look at the comments, but there was a note on it. Cruelty photos.
Like a bad thing? Have I done a bad thing?
It's no. It's a Gyarados from Little Pokemon. But like,
yes, that's it.
Real
it's something
life.
to do with Pokemon, wasn't it? Yes, I did read it. But just it's just awesome. Cool. And again, I'd never have seen this if it wasn't for the Paint and Cultist tag.
Trained so many Gyarados.
Never have popped up like in my feeds or anything. But like, just what a cool model. And lovely paint job, lovely photo.
I didn't recognise it, mate. I've trained so many Gyarados over the years in my teams. I've owned every Pokemon game. It's always had a Gyarados, and I didn't recognise it.
He's painting quite a few sort of Pokemon-esque miniatures that are being created from can't pronounce that.
Maybe that's what I should do as an entry out there for
Mini Monster Mayhem.
Is that the guy that does the photos? So there's an artist that takes like Gyaradoses, like Bulbasaurs, whatever they are, and he like 3D, he paints in 3D, and he 3D renders them as realistic models.
Realistic Pokemon, yeah,
like realistic Pokemon.
They're scary.
They're scary as shit. Like freaky. Bulbasaur as a real one is basically it's crazy looking, but they're very cool, and that's a great paint job. Looks amazing. It looks scary as fuck, though.
It's just great, isn't it? Like that's how to present a model.
Works so well. It's like it's properly down in the depths. And that sort of phantom.
Yeah. Like when you see the videos where they're in the little subs, the submersibles.
And the lights we're looking for this
on it. Blind shot. Yeah.
This is how your horror movie starts.
Really cool. And yes, sorry. That's it's just cool. I just really liked it. Maybe we'll have to find you some Pokemon minis, Andy.
I want a Rayquaza if anyone wants to sculpt me something. Anyway, I'll get that commissioned in my own time.
Not a clue, but it sounds fun.
It's a green dragon. It's the Wood Elf Forest Dragon, basically.
Oh, is that okay?
There we go. I mean, we probably could have guessed, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not very diverse in my model taste. Sorry.
There's only 151. There's nothing more.
Too
Nah.
right.
Is that a Pokemon reference?
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
first one had
it's-
151. And
They're the only ones I know.
Good
The ones I
work.
can remember.
shocking. Anyway,
I mean, no, go on, because I know absolutely naff all about this. But like, I mean, if we're seeing all these Marvel minis, right, and stuff, like, surely Pokemon must have a miniatures range, doesn't it?
isn't it the biggest franchise in the world?
Hmm.
Right, it's got to be like up
think so.
there,
Bigger than
right?
Disney, isn't it?
Surely it's
I
got.
don't think,
and,
like, other than like unofficial stuff, I don't think there's anything official.
I don't think
but this is where there's that massive ignorance on my behalf, and I think a lot of people's, like, the modeling scene, particularly in Japan, right, is colossal, right? The hobby scene,
Just not Warhammer, mate.
but it's just not so much Warhammer. Like, there's the odd artist I see and follow, but I just other than Gundam, I'm not really that familiar.
Well, let's
Historical.
go. Cult
You know, we need
get
to,
it
yeah,
done.
we need to either get someone on, yeah, or go out there, and
We're
just
going.
see what's going down. Because for all we know, there's already an amazing range of Pokemon miniatures and this, that, and the other. We're just ignorant to it. So
there is a massive community in Japan of historical painters specifically around tanks.
right,
There is a
Right.
massive community around there.
Right.
There's some fantastic paint tankers.
I'd love to find out more about that. I really would.
It's been a long day.
Be very, very cool. But that is for another time and another show. So let's wrap this one up.
Could have done a 3-hour ep today, couldn't we? So we'll have to do another one.
Sorry, we're buzzing noise. Yeah, it could have been, but yeah, we managed to keep it on time pretty well. Chat, you've been awesome. It's really lovely to see people chatting in there about what we're talking about, but also about anything else. Really great to see. It's what we want to do, is try and build that painting nerd community. Andy, Matt, particularly, thank you ever so much for taking us through Golden Demon. I'm really chuffed for you both, not only winning, obviously, but, you know, I know how much you care about Golden Demon and stuff, so it's really nice to that you've got to get out there and got to enjoy it so much. And it sounds like props to G-Dub for putting on a decent comp as well, which I think is worth, you know, it's easy to, and quite right to criticize people when they don't do things right, but it's worth saying when they've done a good job as well. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with UK Demon as well, when they've got the full crew, as it were, not just the traveling.
I mean, like,
you know, traveling gang.
Aiden did an insane job on, and the other judges, they really, I couldn't have made some decisions. It's too stressful.
Yeah, I bet, mate. I bet that's it, isn't it? Life for the judge. Rich, thanks for being here as ever, mate, and sort of nerding out with me, you know, as we look at these two current Golden Demon winners.
It's mate. I've started
maybe
Golden Demon entry.
Yeah,
I've
I had to
started
think
one.
about
What
it.
the
Maybe,
fuck? I've actually started it.
Rich is back. He's back.
You go up on the Friday for UKGD, back on the Sunday, 3 days of awesome. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Might have to
You
do
all
it.
need to go.
Might have
All
to
of
do
us.
it.
You all need to go.
And lastly, of course, massive congrats to Gavin again for winning the sword with the beautiful skink model. I hope one day we'll get to see it. I think there's a good chance maybe we will, if we can get him over here for something. Yeah, so huge congrats to that for winning the first demon in 2-3 years, first sword in 2 or 3 years. So thanks for watching, chat. If you're watching this back, thanks for watching as well. You know the usual: like, comment, subscribe, all of that nonsense. And if you ever want to get in touch with us, we're on all the usual socials. So if you've got suggestions for show topics or things you think we should take a look at, do let us know. Thanks, chaps. Thanks, chat. We'll see you next time.
Bye.